Hello, everyone. Fired up about our 19th annual Vector Marketing Corporation March Madness Maniacs pool. I am back from Hawaii here in the great state of California in the wonderful and beautiful Bay Area, which is represented in the tournament by Cal and St. Mary's, by the way. So I'm repping Cal tonight. I do not have a St. Mary's hat, but I will gladly take one from any of you guys from the East Bay that want to give one to me. I'm excited about Cal and St. Mary's both being in. Although, of course, neither of them have a chance to do much damage, but it's still positive. Defending champion UConn is in the tournament. They squeaked out a number 9 seed, but they have to face Kentucky in the second round, which is brutal. And yes, it is the second round until they have 96 teams in the tournament. I will never call the Thursday-Friday games anything other than the first round, which makes Saturday-Sunday's games the second round. These Tuesday-Wednesday games are lame. They're basically irrelevant anyway. I'll keep calling that the opening round. And for our pool, they are irrelevant. So the pool, of course, starts with Thursday's games. Defending champion of the pool is Joe Giannosa. No one has ever won twice in a row. I'm betting that will not happen this year, although we have had several two-time champions. Mike Schmidt, Chris Heigl, and Rebecca Flowers are all two-time champions. Heigl's chances generally ride on Michigan State, which means he could be looking very good again this year. Other past champions of the pool that will be participating most likely this year include Scott Dennis, who is the first winner, Earl Kelly, Bruce Goodman, the president, Chris Cooper, Jeff Nixon, Jill Downing, and Kathleen Woods. They're all expected to be participating once again this year. Remember, if you're in the pool, you're subject to being smacked on. It's my opportunity to channel my inner Jim Rome and be able to comment on people's lame picks when they are lame. And there are many of you who are lame and have lame picks. Sometimes it is myself. As always, I give myself a free entry in the pool as well as a second entry for free, which I usually donate to whichever lady I want to give it to. This year, what I'm doing with my second free entry is I'm entering the random picks bracket. And the way I will pick the random picks bracket is for the first round, I'm actually going to make reasonable picks, all right? Just because I'm not going to flip coins when it's a 16 versus a 1. But for the second round, one of the 4 brackets, I'm going to pick by flipping a coin for each game for the second, third round, all the way down to the final 4. Another bracket, I'm going to pick all chalk. So just the top seeds always win. Another bracket, I'm going to pick based on team colors using my interpretation of the Kathleen Woods formula, where dark blues beat out baby blues and always pick somebody with green to go far. And then in the other bracket, the 4th bracket finally, I'm going to pick based on which team's mascot is more fierce. So that's how I'm going to be picking that second bracket. I will return to the flip a coin method once we get down to the final 4. And I'll probably video this whole process for you guys to see how I determined the random picks bracket. By the way, if you object to me having my bracket be free, then feel free to organize your own pool. Let me continue with some commentary on the brackets. I think the committee actually did a pretty good job this year. The number 1 seeds are all pretty spot on, although Missouri could have had claim to getting the 4th one over Michigan State. But, you know, Michigan State was won the best conference in America. And Missouri's in their bracket anyway, so they can settle it on the court next weekend. The 2s are all pretty clear-cut, and other than Georgetown getting a 3 seed over Wisconsin, I think that they got that all right as well. As far as the teams whose bubbles burst, you know, I'm just wondering how the Pac-10 regular season champion Washington did not get in, while the 3rd place team in the WCC, BYU, did get in. That, to me, seemed a little bit strange. And if the committee is deciding to reward regular season champions by letting Iona get in the tournament, then what happened to Drexel? You know, Drexel went 25-1 before losing the Colonial Championship game by 3 points to a pretty good VCU squad, and they got left out completely. I would have preferred to see Washington and Drexel get in over BYU and Iona, but those are very close calls, and I'm happy with how things turned out. North Carolina appears to have received the easiest bracket this year, with Kansas as its number 2. I think Kansas has overachieved a little bit this year. Carolina's got the weakest 3 seed in their bracket, Georgetown. Michigan, who at number 4 seed's not really that tough. And by far the weakest 5 seed in Temple. So the road looks a lot easier for North Carolina than some of the other teams. There's a lot of talk about Kentucky's bracket being the hardest, but I disagree. I think people are just looking at the fact that UConn looms in the second round, and that Indiana, who beat Kentucky, would be after that, or could be after that. But this is not the same UConn team as last year. They're not the same threat they were last year. Indiana's point guard's hurt. They're not going to compete with Kentucky. And then after that, Kentucky's looking at Duke or Baylor, and those teams don't look nearly as scary as playing Missouri or Ohio State or Florida State right now. Syracuse bracket, much tougher with Wisconsin or Vanderbilt in the second round, then Florida State or Ohio State after that, or Wisconsin or Vanderbilt in the third round, then Florida State or Ohio State after that. I don't think the Orange are going to make it through that kind of a gauntlet, by the way. And to me, Michigan State's bracket looks the toughest. They got Memphis in the second game. They got Big East champ Louisville or Mountain West champ New Mexico in the third game. Then they've got Missouri or Marquette after that. That looks pretty tough. There are some interesting first-round matchups. Again, yes, Thursday, Friday is the first round. In the South, I think VCU and Wichita State should be a pretty interesting game. A lot of people think the Shockers could be this year's Butler. We're going to find out pretty quick how good they are. Indiana will come after that if they get by VCU. Then in the West, I'm interested in the New Mexico-Long Beach State game. The Lobos have had a great year, and they look really good. But Long Beach State played the toughest non-conference schedule in the nation this year. They played Kansas, they played UNC, they played Louisville. They lost in overtime at San Diego State, one of New Mexico's Mountain West rivals. And then Long Beach State went 15-1 in their conference. So that should be a good game. In the East, I'm excited about Vanderbilt. Yes, Bruce Goodman's team, the Commodores, the Harvard of the South, as they like to call themselves, facing in the first round, Harvard. The Ivies have done well in the tournament lately. Remember Cornell last year? I certainly do. And that should be interesting. Gonzaga, West Virginia should be a pretty good game as well. Looks like most people are going with West Virginia to spring a mild upset there. In the Midwest, the 8-9 game between Creighton and Alabama should be an interesting one. The Crimson Tide are actually favored to win. This is a classic battle of the middle-of-the-road team from a power conference versus the elite team from a mid-major conference. And I'm rooting for the Blue Jays big time. I always root for the little guys. There's a St. Mary's Purdue matchup that's pretty much the same type of thing happening as well. Purdue's favored, but go St. Mary's. Remember, the deadline is Thursday before the first game starts. 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. That's the deadline to get your bracket filled out. I don't want to have any fax bracket losers that can't get their brackets in on time or can't figure out how to work the system. So please get it done. Just do it Wednesday night so you know you have things under control. Also, please pay for your pool on time, especially if your name is Kevin Donahue or Jess Martinetti, last year's deadbeat losers who lagged on paying until like sometime in late April. Also, if you PayPal me, you can do so. Pay the fee that they charge. Don't pass it on to me, dorks. When I pay out the winners, I do pay them the full amount. So I expect to receive the full amount from all of you. Last year I got $38 and change from quite a few people, and it was totally lame. According to Justin Cofield, by the way, PayPal has a feature where the sender can select to pay the fee. And, quote, only donkeys would pass along that fee to you. That is what Justin Cofield said. Well, evidently, the following people were donkeys last year: Jesse Long, Dane Espigard, Kyle Smith, Adam Jester, Ramon Rouse, Trenton Switzer, Chris Oakes, and IDAPS LLC, whoever you are. I want to thank Evan Price for paying over a month ago, and also Chris Naku for paying me in Maui. Also, Dave Powders credited his $40 winnings last year to this year's pool, so he's paid up. And Jason Flynn, I made a note that you paid for 2 years last year. So if you remember that, you're covered as well. Enjoy the games on Thursday and Friday. If you text me during the games, please don't text any spoilers. Sometimes I'm watching a little late on TiVo. If you're in the Bay Area, feel free to invite yourself to come over and watch the games anytime this weekend. Just let me know. It's the greatest sporting event of the year. Have fun watching. Thanks, guys, for participating in the pool. Look forward to some exciting results and some smack talk as well. See y'all later.